Okay, so what we have here is we have a schedule. We're going to do a schedule. And what you see, we have a narrative schedule, hanger 1, Jack narrative and makeshift schedules attached. Doesn't include time to produce closeout docs, but I believe we have 120 days from the notice to proceed. This will give them an idea of what we are looking at. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is we need to download this document. And normally you'd want to put this into the actual file, but I have a filing system, so it'll just dump it in there automatically. And so this is a narrative schedule from Pacific Tech. Here's their description of work, and here is their actual schedule. Okay. So they're assuming an award notice to proceed at 5/10/17, which we clearly do not have. So what we're going to do is we're going to transfer this into a schedule. So what we use here at Viking is we use Smartsheet for our schedules. And let's see. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to Jobs, and I'm going to see if there's a folder for this. Actually, you know what? No, we're going to go to Schedules because we changed the way that we're doing this now. We're going to go to Schedules, and then we're going to create a new project sheet. Smartsheet calls schedules project sheets for some reason. So VC 17025 project schedule. And what you have basically is task name, duration, start, finish, predecessors, who it's assigned to, percent complete, status, and comments. For now, we don't really need any of these last four, so we're just going to hide these. So I click, left click, shift, left click.
I'm well
okay.
informed on the shortcuts. I love using shortcuts, so.
That is good. Okay, hide that. Let's see where we got here. All right, so now we have to go to his actual narrative. And so we have to basically put all the stuff that he has down here, and I'm going to just try to do it all at once here.
That'd be nice. Oh.
Yeah, all right, so that worked. Start, finish, predecessors. Okay, so we're going to assign the award notice to proceed. We're going to do it as a 0. It shows up as a milestone. And we're going to assume, we don't know yet, but we're going to assume that, let's say we're going to get that on Tuesday the 30th. Start on Tuesday the 30th. Okay, that's going to be when we can really start the project right there. And what he doesn't have here is that the bonds should actually go before that.
Okay.
Because he's got that wrong. We do the bonds first, and then we got the notice to proceed. Usually what I start with is I insert above, and I actually just start with the actual award, so they can see when the award was made.
Okay.
And this I usually put as an NTP issue, because even though we were awarded on a certain date, our contract clock doesn't start until they give us the notice to proceed.
Okay.
Okay. So, and then we have pre-construction submittals. He has 30 days. So if you just put in 30, it assumes days. If you want it to be hours, you got to use H, 4 hours, whatever. Material submittals, he's got another 30 days. Okay. Now, he doesn't really say in this case whether these are happening at the same time or one has to happen and then the other one happens, but I'm assuming
that they happen at the same time.
I'm assuming these two happen at the same time, just from the way up, because he's got these starting at 10th, obviously,
Yeah.
so they are happening at the same time. And then he's got approval and then material submittals approval.
And it's for 90 days, so.
Yeah. Where's that? Where do you see the 90
It's
days?
scheduled 90 days to complete.
Got it. Okay. Okay, so he's got pre-construction submittals approval 14 days, and he's got material submittals approval 14 days. So here's where the interesting stuff starts is you can't approve a pre-construction submittal unless the pre-construction submittal has been submitted. So the predecessor for line 6 to happen is line 4. Okay,
Okay.
so we'll put a 4 in there. Now these are automatically linked. This one will start after this one. Okay.
Okay.
So let's assume I'm putting some fake dates in here, right? Let's assume that 5/23/17 was the award, which is today, which is not the case, but let's say that I'm going to start the pre-construction submittals right after the award. All I have to do is put in predecessor 1. I'm going to do the bond, the same thing, predecessor 1. Notice to proceed issued. Let's see, I'm going to put something in here, and I'm going to say bond approval. And I'll flesh these out a little bit to make them a little bit more descriptive. And let's say we got 7 days because they haven't actually approved the bond yet. So there's the bond approval, and then the notice to proceed issued. Now we can actually make it based on the bond approval.
Okay.
You can see that moved it. I'm gonna click on the settings here because I don't like the way that it displays the timelines automatically. So I'm gonna do a display label for task name. It makes it a lot clearer. Okay. So now you can kind of start to track. Pre-construction submittals, 30 days from award because we already started that, so that's good. And then we do material submittals. We're going to say they're going to start the same time as the pre-construction submittals. They're going to do 5 start. That means material submittals will start at the same time as that.
Okay.
And the material submittals approval will happen after the material submittals are put in. Okay. Environmental work plan, he's got 40 days. I have no idea why you would need 40 days on this. That does not make sense at all. But I'm going to put in 40 days. And I'm going to say that's after the award as well. Or I'm going to say that's going to go as part of the pre-construction submittals. Does not really make sense, but that's okay. And then we're going to put in a mobilization. He's saying it's going to take 5 days to mobilize. And this one's actually going to be set in stone. We're not going to make it a predecessor. We're going to say they're going to leave on July 6th after the holiday, and they need to travel. Okay. So I'm going to say mobilization. Yeah,
There's 2 mobilizations.
Yeah, because he has it as a sub item as well. Let's see over here so you can see in this video here. He has mobilization as an overall, and then he's got mobilization, set up field office, and office utilities. He's having them happen kind of all at the same time. The schedule is actually wrong because if you're mobilizing for 5 days from 7/6 to 7/10, and you're going to be traveling, I know they have 3 days of travel, then you can't do that. So let's say we're not going to show the travel to the government. We'll change the schedule because they don't like to see travel because they're like, well, we don't care. Just get here, you know? So we're going to say 3 days of travel. And then as soon as we're done traveling, we can mobilize. And it's going to take us 5 days to mobilize. And we have to travel to get there. So that's...
Well, you're saying 3 days for travel, just for...
Because he told me it was going to be 3 days.
Okay.
Well, last time I was down there, so I know.
Okay.
So they have to drive from Kelso, Washington to basically the Mexican border in Arizona.
Oh,
so it's
okay.
3 full days of driving because they get their trucks and all that. And then they're going to set up their field office and office utilities, also 5 days each. But we are going to say that those are going to happen at the same time as line 11. So 11 start, 11 start. So now you can see they get all linked. And now on the actual hanger, let's say I'm going to change that to construction. And I'm going to indent all of these things. There's the indent right there. Okay. And realistically, you can have a mobilization and an indent, all this stuff, and that's how I would usually clean it up at the end. So construction happens after the mobilization, after all this is done, right? All these three things are done. So we're going to say in order for that to happen, we have to have line 12 done, and line 13, and line 14. And it'll automatically tell us the date. Roof demo is going to be 45 days. Install is going to be 45 days. Demo and infill skylight is going to be 40 days. Demo and install translucent panel is going to be 10 days. Light demo and install is going to be 8 days. Sheet metal flashing 5 days, and gutters and downspouts 5 days. Now he's telling us it's going to be a total of 50 days of construction, which to me means that he's going to be demoing and install at the same time in different sections. He's going to be doing this all at the same time, and pretty much all of this at the same time, except for the sheet metal and flashing will be the last 5 days. So you're going to have 45 days of this major work with this stuff happening at the same time, maybe a different crew, and then you have 5 days at the end of that. It'll give you 50 days.
Okay.
This isn't really laid out the way a normal schedule should, but I'm still having to make some guesses here.
Yeah.
So the roof install is going to happen at the same time as the roof demo, and the demo and infill skylights are going to happen at the same time as the demo. Oops, I'm sorry, 16 start. See that I brought that back down?
Yeah.
And I'm going to say this is going to be 16 start. It's going to bring it back there. Demo and install translucent panels. You know, I'm going to say it's going to also start right there, but let's see, those panels. I doubt they're going to start all that at the same time.
Yeah.
So sometimes you can actually put in a lag, let's say plus 10 days, and make it lag out a little bit. So then the light demo and install, I think what's going to happen here is that the light demo and install has to happen right after the skylights and translucent panels. In theory. I mean, realistically, it could probably happen at the same time, right?
Yeah.
In fact, it probably will. So let's go ahead and say we're going to do 18 start, 19 start. We're going to say that's all going to happen at the same time. Then the sheet metal flashing in the gutters and downspouts will happen once all the rest is done. So once the roof install is done, and once the skylights are done, and once the panels are done, then that can happen. And the gutters and downspouts can happen at the same time as the sheet metal and flashing. So it's going to be 21 start. And there you have a finished schedule. You know, not too bad.
No.
Takes about 10 minutes. Now, the hard part is this real? Is this really how it's going to work, right? So what I would do then is I would actually share this, and I'm going to share this with Travis at Pacific Tech. Travis Fisher, which I don't have in here. I'm going to look him up here. Travis Fisher right there. And I'm going to share this with him. It's a collaborative tool. So I'm going to collaborate here. I'm going to say editor can share. And I'm going to say Travis, please take a look at the preliminary schedule and let's work together to finalize this. So you don't want to share the entire workspace, you want to share just the sheet. Okay. And now he's going to get an invitation and he can look at it and use it just like this, even though he's not even invited.
Okay.
And he can make changes, and him and I can be working on this at the same time. So that's the power of that. Okay. Do you have any questions?
No, pretty straightforward.
Okay.